Well, 2-year-old Caylee Anthony is missing. Her mother, Casey, is in jail tonight, and this case gets stranger and stranger every day. Joining us live now in Orlando is Rosie Franco, reporter for WFLA Radio and the Florida News Network. You just heard her interview with Cindy Anthony, the grandmother. Rosie joins us live tonight. Good evening, Rosie. Unbelievable anger coming from Cindy Anthony tonight there. She is ticked off at the police. Exactly why?
Exactly, Megan. This case gets more bizarre as it goes on. She has a contempt when she talks about the Orange County Sheriff's Office, and she says it's because they're not helping her. Now, when I talked to Deputy Carlos Padilla this evening, he said they're tired of interviewing Casey because they're tired of her lies. Now, I did learn that the FBI is also involved in this case, and I learned that the FBI has not interviewed her. Her attorney, Jose Baez, has restricted most interviews or all interviews that she could very well give to these authorities. And the latest in the investigation is that Casey's attorney, Jose Baez, says that he's requested a motion that all interaction between the family through phone calls or any kind of visits through the jail that they not go into public record.
Right. He's upset that they're getting released to the media. Let me interrupt you, Rosie, because I want to ask you about something you just said. You're telling me that the deputy sheriff told you that the reason they're no longer talking to Casey Anthony, the mother of the missing child, is that they are, quote, tired of her lies.
Well, now, they have tried to talk to Casey, and Jose Baez has restricted their communication, and every time they talk to her, they say it's lie after lie after lie. And we had an interview with Deputy Carlos Padilla earlier today, and you can see that in the interview. And
you talked to him about some very interesting things, including the shovel. Tell us about the shovel.
That was very interesting. Now, this was a key piece of evidence that the media has not talked about lately. Now, the shovel is still under forensic examination.
It's a shovel that Casey borrowed from a neighbor.
Exactly, the shovel that Casey borrowed from the neighbor, and we asked Deputy Carlos Padilla if there was DNA on the handle of the shovel and also on the blade of the shovel. We asked him if there was possible DNA from Casey on the handle and possible DNA from Caylee on the blade, and he said he could not confirm or deny that. Now, we asked him when that shovel would be back from forensics, and he could not tell us that either. But it is still in forensics, as a number of other things.
Rosie, was it able to say, because I spoke with Casey's lawyer earlier today, Jose Baez, and he suggested that shovel was borrowed earlier, before little Caylee went missing. What do the cops say about the timing of when she borrowed it?
They haven't said anything about the timing. They're just focusing in on the fact that it was borrowed and that it was used and that it might have been in the trunk of the car at some point, and they're just focusing on the forensic evidence that will be revealed once it comes out of examination.
All right, I think actually we have this soundbite queued up with Jose Baez. Let me get you to listen to it, and then we'll move on. There were reports surfacing that Casey, your client, borrowed a shovel during the time that little Caylee was missing from a neighbor. Can you confirm or deny that?
That's incorrect. Well, now, what happened was that she borrowed the shovel before she moved out of the house. The neighbor said it was around the time that she went disappearing, but she was actually living at the home, and that's when she borrowed the shovel, and Caylee was not missing at the time.
Yeah, and I'd also like to point out that attorney Jose Baez also said that the Orange County Sheriff's Department did not return any of his calls when he reached out to them, and he never reached out to them, and the Orange County Sheriff's Department claims that they reached out to attorney Jose Baez, and he never returned any of those calls.
Before I let you go, let me ask you, you asked about the grid search. You asked him why they are not performing a grid search looking for the child. What was the answer to that?
He said they're just not actively searching right now. They're just following up on all the leads that's coming in right now.
And quickly, are they checking Casey's cell phone? Because in that call to her brother, she says she heard from her daughter as late as mid-July.
Right. We dug as deep as we could go, and according to Deputy Carlos Padilla, he said that they're checking the cell phone, and we also asked about her bank records, if there was anything unusual, any kind of transaction that was unusual during the time, and he said they're checking into all of that.
All right, Rosie Franco, thanks so much. You got to leave it at that because we're out of time, but great reporting. Thanks very much. Coming up, our own Ted Williams live in Florida investigating this case. What has he found? New information from Casey's neighbors when the former detective goes on the record next.